Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 262, and today we're doing battle with Fizz Gwen. And so before we jump into the deck itself, Riot did release a few patch-related changes yesterday that are in effect now. So if you want to take a swing over to their Twitter, if you go and look at the Play Runeterra page, it brings up the 4.0 patch, but that only has the changes that happened back before Christmas, the pre-holiday patch. The hotfix new patch now says that the back alley bar costs one more. I think that's absolutely fantastic. The Dark and Aegeus no longer gives a point of power. I think it's still quite strong. The World Ender did get nerfed up to 16 mana from 13, which should slow down the Aatrox Vayne decks quite a bit. Also, given that Vayne took a hit in losing a point of toughness. I think the Aatrox Vayne deck still extremely strong. It's still going to be competing as the kind of top dog of the format, I believe. But it's most certainly going to be a little bit weaker as they did come in and just nerf some of the cards. I personally think that deck is just kind of leagues above everything else, and I wouldn't be surprised if these changes, like in a kind of standard meta, these changes would drop whatever that top deck is from being like a 56 57% win rate deck down to like a 50. I think this will just drop it down a little bit below 55%. I think Aatrox got away pretty safe, and all of the combos within those decks are still extremely strong. And so we're two nerfs deep into Vayne. We're catching a nerf to the Dark and Aegeus, and then a nerf to Aatrox as well. Last but not least in here, Fallen Reckoner is taking a bit of a hit. He has lost a point of attack and a point of health, and then the follow-up Risen Reckoner also loses a point of attack and a point of health. I believe it's the Reckoner's second nerf as well, and probably fairly deserving. It's quite a strong ability to just shut down your opponent's units like that, with all the value tied into it, and then the kind of neato things that happen when you resurface the Reckoner with the 3/6 Hallowed guy. It was a card probably deserving of a bit of a nerf. But those changes are in place. I did double check within the game. You can see that the World Ender costs 16 mana, so our video today will be in this new format. And again, we're going to be playing Fizz Gwen. I'm not going to call it Jizz. Like, that's just too easy. Like, I have to, like, physically, like, remind myself I should not call it that. But Gwiz is what some people are calling it. I'll try my best to just call it Fizz Gwen. But nonetheless, this is a deck that really kind of preys on a format that is both slow and non-interactive. And so if you do go look to those Aatrox Vayne decks that we were talking about, they do have a bit of interactivity. I'm not saying that they don't. They have the early game challengers package with the various scouts and loading them up with equipment. But once you move beyond that, they're really limited to just the kind of strike cards, right? You'll see, say, the 4 mana Furious Cultist Strike and things like Concerted Strike or whatever, but those tend to be fairly slow and fairly limited in number. And so as we do look towards a deck like Aatrox Vayne, if we're able to just kind of get those challengers in check, then a unit like Fizz has a lot of opportunity to bring forth some damage. And so the way that you're looking to bring forth the Fizz damage with this deck is through the use of Hallowed. And so if you can give your Fizz +3 or +4 attack, then he can come in for that 6 or 7 damage of elusive that should be pretty tough for your opponent to ignore. But with the addition of the Buru leader, you have these opportunities to attack twice with your Fizz. And so as you've more than often seen against the Red Gwen deck, those abilities can stack. And so if we say have 3 Hallowed, we attack with Fizz, that's going to take him up to 5 power. If we drop the Buru leader on him and attack again, it's going to give him another additional 3 and take him up to 8. And then we'll come in and strike for 8 + 5. That should be about 13 damage or so. I don't know. Mathematics aren't my strong suit. But that's, kind of one of the big interactions that you're looking to kind of put forth with this deck is if your opponent's interactivity is really just limited to, say, like a 4 mana strike and a 5 mana strike, that does not handle Fizz particularly well. And he has a lot of OTK potential coming out of those abilities. Otherwise, some of the kind of interesting things coming from this deck, it is playing the full 3 copies of Opulent Foyer. Fantastic way to generate the hallowed units, but it also ties in nicely with gaining additional attack tokens. And so kind of our backup unit in the place of Fizz is going to be the Island Navigator. This does a handful of useful things. If we get to attack twice with the Island Navigator, we can do that same kind of thing with the Fizz to where we can stack up all of those stats on the same unit. But if we have an Opulent Foyer on the board and make a Scout attack, we get a fresh attack token. That's going to give us an additional Foyer Bro, Hallowed Friend, whatever those things are called. And then you can use the kind of classic Scout attack on the opposing turn kind of thing, as to where we have the Island Navigator create a 1-cost unit. If it's our opponent's attack token, we can Brew Leader that 1-cost unit, get that Scout attack in, get a fresh attack token, and make an additional attack on the opposing turn. And so lots of really interesting and nice combos between the likes of Fizz, the Brew Leader, the Island Navigator, and the Opulent Foyer. Outside of that, we tend to just be a fairly heavy Gwen deck. Lots of really strong hallowed units running around between Gwen, the Butler, the Boisterous Host, and the Redeemed Prodigy, and then a pretty useful removal package. Very heavily slanted towards the equipment with both Quietus and Heavy Metal, but also the very versatile Shadow Isles Tellstones as either a combat trick, which is quite good on top of all of our ephemeral units, or the big removals, be it a Spirit Journey or a Crumble. And so that's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today. You know what we have to do before the battles begin, though. We got to go and pay the pay-to-win price. And so where you at? God, I see all these pirates around here. I definitely want to go and upgrade some of those. But today will be the day for Brew Leader. Welcome to the lands of premiumness. You've had some meme decks running around, right? He's always had some opportunities with Misfortune decks and with Obedient Dragonhound style decks, but I think this is the first deck that he's had that's really potentially pushed him up into the tier 1.5 at least, if not a tier 1 deck. And so the Gwen deck it is, off to battle. We got a kitty here partying as well. Everybody wants to see the kitties in the video. He says, "What up, everybody? What up, world? Thanks for having me." She'll probably start meowing. Good stuff. That's Pepper. She likes to hang out on occasion. Dumbest cat in the whole world. She is a real sweetheart, but she is fucking dumb. All right, though. Let's jump on into battle. Opponent is playing the Sun Disc. I have to double check with this Corrupted Zerath. That's an artwork I'm not super familiar with, but we're just looking to start off with some of our early game cheap plays. You don't need to be starting with Fizz. We want to be starting with our Boisterous Hosts, our Phantom Butlers, our Redeemed Prodigies, just kicking off with the standard, slightly aggressive package, but also leveling up our hallowed abilities. Unfortunately, no more plays, but we don't have to get those really big aggressive draws. We can still do some nasty things with Gwen and friends. The thing that we need to kind of watch out for playing against the Sun Disc is you do have to be aware of a quicksand, and so I don't feel ultra confident in trying to go for Fizz OTKs with this style of deck, right? If we're out here playing against, I don't know, like Seraphine Ezreal or Darkness or whatever, you have some opportunities in terms of what you're able to deal with in terms of Fizz and the opposing removal. You can protect him with your various spells and whatnot, but no way to get around a quicksand, so worries me a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and just pick up some aggression here, though. Opponent shouldn't be able to add any units to the board, and our hand's not really doing anything. And so I want to punch in the damage with the Boisterous Host. More importantly, that gets this Brew Leader on the board, and ideally now we can get some good Gwen attacks started. Just if we aren't willing to go ahead and start like developing this Gwen and getting these units on the board, we're just going to give him too much time to get the Sun Disc going. I don't want him adding good units to the board. I want him spending his time interacting with what we do. Just don't let him have his kind of standard game plan. So here, sad day. The Desert Naturalist was quite a strong play. I wasn't really expecting this much stats to be coming down at this point, but I think it's going to be okay. With him taking that attack in now, it is going to force a trade with our Gwen. I assume that he's going to try and take her down with the Grumpy Rock Bear. But we have a follow-up Gwen for the next turn. Alright, so let's go ahead and drop the Butler. Reasonably strong bros now, right? We'll have the 3 Halloweds going on to Gwen. She's not perfectly safe, right? Again, in the lands of a quicksand. If you take away her quick attack, she is a little bit more vulnerable in combats, but the strength is still here. Alright, so with this board, I was initially pretty excited to just put the Hallowed boost onto a fearsome unit, but this Rockhopper really got in the way of everything, giving him both a fearsome unit and a 3-cost blocker and a way to kind of weaken up our Gwen. Not really excited about what happened there, but you know what they say. It is what it is. So the thing with this board, though, I mean, we're still doing our thing well. His units aren't big enough to interact with Gwen. It should be tough for him to get, you know, just a big collection of units on board. But the place that we're hurting is if he has the Zerath. Like, if he has the second champion, then we're going to be falling pretty far behind. I think he's built up the way to take down our Gwen. That's just going to have to be okay. We can glimpse beyond her out of combat, so he's not going to get the sarcophagus. I think that's what we want to be seeing, but still kind of tough. The thing I'm like curious about with this game is we've been sitting on the fading memories the whole time. We did have an opportunity a while ago to fading memories our Buru bro, whatever the Buru cultist is called, and that might be really biting us in the ass now that we don't have a great target for this fading memories, to where if we were getting 2 attacks out of Fizz, we would be in a much better spot. But we are also kind of lacking in the sense that we don't have a we only have the 1 spell for Fizz this turn. So if we had taken that play, we wouldn't be able to give him Elusive. So this is tough. Like, I'm curious how he takes his attack from the Fallen Feline. We're most certainly making the attack here. I don't think it's worth a fading memories onto the Island Navigator. Maybe it is. Maybe this is the way we do it. We need to get our Fizz on board. So we can go ahead and drop him now. The downside is we're going to make this attack, and then we're not going to get an additional unit. We're not going to get the additional Ghostly Band. Now that he has a unit that can kill the Island Navigator, we probably just have to give it the big boost. Kind of a frown town here. I feel like if we had just a little bit more experience with this deck, we would have been able to piece together a little bit better of an attack, but certainly not done here. We have a lot of power on the board. He doesn't appear to have the Zerath to really be causing us problems, and then we can squeeze in a big old chunk of damage on this attack. Right, if we bring in everybody, we assume that the Dunekeeper is going to go on the Island Navigator. That's okay. The question is, do we want to attack with the Phantom Butler? And he does just kind of like bounce into Azir. Maybe we need to keep him back. That attack doesn't feel very good. Of course. At least Fizz is still a pretty gigantic unit here. He gets to bring in some Thunder. He's gonna swat down whatever blocks him, and you know, opponent's down to 1 card. And I feel like we're ahead at this point between having the 6 Hallowed Deaths along with a Scout unit in hand. feels like we're ahead. I mean, there's like a lot of just pure garbage in this opposing deck. And so, you know, we might be okay. Got some of this pure garbage like picks. That's the one I was really hoping to pick up here. No, not the case. Not the truth. No facts whatsoever out of that. And so with this one, we're definitely going to be making a scout attack. The question is, do we want to say, like, we can... Well, I guess we can't quiet us Azir anymore. I was thinking on the previous turn, it's like, well, we can't quiet us Azir and pop the spell shield, and then that's just gone for a future turn, but that doesn't feel particularly strong. I feel like I'd been much happier just dropping whatever, you know, if he plays a Soothsayer, or if he plays the whatever you are, the one-cost dude that makes a Waking Sands. Those all just felt like more realistic targets for Quietus. What happens if we Spirit Journey this thing? Do we get the unit back, but it's not ephemeral? Is that what we get with the Spirit Journey? Like, that sounds a little bit more positive than just throwing a Mark of the Isles at the Restored Devout. I think I'm on board with that. I'm pretty sure that's how this works, right? Why would he blow up the Roiling Sands instead of the sarcophagus? That's interesting as well. Rite of Negation's fine. Interesting. All right. Well, that's the biggest picks you've ever seen. Get in there and do your thing, little fairy. Do your thing. +6 attack. Lulu needs to take notes on on how to get an effective Pix attack. All right, let's bring the squad. I assume he's going to put Azir in front of our Phantom Butler, but... Oh, Jesus. I guess that's okay. Come in for 2. He's out of cards again. He's going to have more units than us next turn. The Butler would have been good to block this sarcophagus, but I kind of felt like we were in a spot to where, you know, we're really grinding this stuff down. We're not going to get lethaled off of this. Right? 10, 14, be one short. No, just getting lethaled. Yeah, that attack was not good. Should have probably just gone in with the two ephemerals and left our bro back. That was especially painful as we drew the Glimpse from Beyond with no targets. But not a bad set of games. Not a bad set of games. Learning moment for everyone, and I feel like if we just had a little bit more experience with this one, that would have been a crushing victory for Team Bust. All right, so on to the next one. And so, yeah, I don't want to hang on to Fizz here. He's just a little bit... He's just got to come down and die, right? And we don't really have the tools to come out and protect him. This value start with the Butler and the Foyer, and now the Boisterous Host feels a little bit better up against the Bandle City Seraphine. They are going to have just a ton of stuff like Group Shot and Thermogenic Beam and Pokey Stick, and so... I'd like to, you know, get some of these early plays started, but not have to count on Fizz. He's just going to get smoked. Into the foyer, bro. Teaching you all how to say words good as well. Hitting the foyer. Alright, but but not a bad start. Every unit we play from this point forward is extremely relevant. Losing out the foyer to the aftershock kind of sucks, but we are up to Hallowed 3, so I mean, zap striking for a ton. Just every attack is extremely strong. Now the Fizz is ready to party. Sure. There's no need to quiet us this turn. We can use it with Fizz next turn. Hopefully, I'd prefer to not be wasting Tellstones, and the Seraphine just sitting here doesn't do anything. Now this is interesting in that we can add Gwen, but then like how much are we going to be able to protect our Fizz, right? If we want to bring the Quietus into Seraphine, then we're really going to be struggling with the damage. I think we can go for it now. This is a fairly dangerous spot, but he's already played Pokey Stick. He's already played Mystic Shot. He can have Group Shot as the last one, but that feels like a place that's typically very safe for Fizz. And maybe we could have waited a turn there, but I don't care about this Seraphine. And you're limited to a degree in the removal that you get, and he had already played a large collection of the things that spike 1-cost units or 1 health units. Maybe it was just too greedy. That's like a lot of damage we did just miss out on there. Maybe we should have just been happy with our Gwen attack, but it's tough. So I would like to clear out some of this board. Like, if we draw a unit next turn, I want to be able to still get in this like big chunk of damage, right? We can't just open with Gwen, but ideally what happens is we draw a unit and play it, opponent plays 1 unit, and then we attack. We still get the big damage in. And he's just like not going to be able to interact well. That seems good. Right, now we get the full bonus of the Halloweds on this turn. The Gwen should get the flip. He did get the blocker on board, but it's essentially dealing the same amount of damage as if we just opened with Gwen. All right, let's see if he can blow us up. With the back alley bar, though, costs 1 more mana now. He doesn't have Ezreal up to this point, and so maybe we're okay. Yeah, this would be so much better if we just had Fizz. He probably should not have thrown him away so easily. Mechanized Mimic, okay. That came out of the back alley bar. Oh, what the hell? What the hell is this thing coming from? Gotcha. I gotcha. Interesting. Okay. I think I want to hang on to these Tellstones just as a means to protect our Gwen if we need to Spirit Journey her. Kind of a bummer. So what we'll look to do this turn, I want to lead in with the heavy metal. Then I'm going to drop the Buru leader onto the Ghostly Band so we get 2 Hallowed attacks this turn. Drop the bomb. It's all coming in, my dude. It's all coming in. You are the most protected Ghostly Band 2023. We're early in the year, right? It shouldn't be that much. All right, so he's definitely got to block the band. He's got all the stats one could need, and then we're up to Hallowed 5 now. So we should have Exacties if he doesn't have another card. Okay. He's dropping in the pokey stick. He's digging. Didn't dig enough. GG, my fella. GG. Oof. Okay. Next battle. I had a delightful morning today, and so the way my nights into the mornings typically go, I wear 2 shirts, right? I've got this nice hoodie on right now. There's a shirt on underneath it. Before I go to sleep, the hoodie gets taken off, thrown into the floor, and then when it's time to go to the gym the next day, let's get rid of these. Again, like, I don't want these spells so early. I really want to find Opulent Foyers in our other hallowed units. Like, maybe there's an argument for the Tellstones, but I think I just want the dudes. But no, so it's like, that's the way it goes, right? You take the hoodie, you throw it on the floor, you go to sleep, you wake up, you put that hoodie back on, then you go to the gym. I'm not going to put, like, clean clothes on to go to the gym. That's fucking stupid. And so I woke up this morning, I put the exterior shirt on, and I was like, wow, something's wet. That's interesting. You never you never really want that sensation as to where you go, wow, something's wet. But that's what happened. I wasn't entirely sure what it was. I thought maybe just that part of the shirt was cold or something. I wasn't entirely aware of what was happening. And it turns out it was wet. I felt a little bit more wet. And so then you have to start coming up with the thought process of, is this piss, is this vomit, or is this a hairball, right? that's the next step from when you're saying, like, oh wow, this is wet, but it's not cold. And turns out, in case you were wondering, in case you needed a little bit of knowledge for your day, it was hairball. And so as I took the shirt off and tossed it into the floor, the hairball made its appearance, and it showed itself dropping onto the floor. So I got to pick that up as well. It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. But nonetheless, for this game, that was the card I was looking to play around. Avalanche, Blighted Ravine, Withering Whale could have been kind of scary. I didn't want to get ourselves into a space to where we tapped out a bunch of mana and then had our units get boomed. And so we should be safe-ish, from this point forward. Quietus is okay. Now we can drop our Fizz and try and get this Fizz plus Gwen attack in next turn. I want to play Fizz on this turn, though, because we do have a small means to protect him, right? We can play at Tellstones if we need to. And I don't want our opponent to be able to play 2 cards in response, right? I don't want to play a Fizz, he plays a card, and then we, play something else. Like, I don't want to have that kind of follow-up. Now, the Island Navigator was a pretty interesting addition to the squad. Now that opponent doesn't have any units on the board, I think the Navigator's probably a little bit better than Gwen. For 2 reasons. We get the 2 attacks this turn, right? We get these scout attacks in. That's going to give us a big boost on the hallowed attacks. We get a lot of damage going this way. And then the card that's going to be like fairly relevant for opponent is things like Flash Freeze, things like Vengeance, just some kind of way to directly kill a unit. And so if we play Gwen and then he just hits her with a Flash Freeze, that's not a very good turn. And so it just feels, a little bit safer to drop in this scout attack. Like, we should get to punch in extra damage. And then we did kind of LOL into the Crusty Codger like a boss. But, eating 2 Flash Freezes here, not that bad. That feels like a winner of a turn. Now we will have a bunch of mana banked up for when Gwen rolls around 2 turns from now. The downside with this, he does still have that 6 mana banked up, and if we want to protect our Gwen with the Spirit Journey, we're a mana short. So ideally, we would have gotten that in, but one thing at a time. Get in there, friend. So no real bonus damages for the turn. I'm curious if we shouldn't have tried to come up with a way to kill off the faces of the old ones. We can take it down now with the heavy metal, but it feels like kind of a waste of a thread the needle, especially if he comes in and like kills our Gwen. And so I think this is okay. We're still in this nice spot to where he's having to really invest in this hallowed unit. So it's like he's just taking it here. Curious if he's going to follow up with Feel the Rush now. We beat Feel the Rush handily. Buried in ice. Okay, we can kind of deal with this. Obliterate each enemy. That doesn't target, right? I mean, we can double check. There's a Fizz spell. Doesn't quite do it, so we won't we won't play the thing. So incoming heavy metal. We'll play the Gwen now. Could we have? We probably should have played Fading Memories as well. We just had that second unit to get the big bonus. That's probably going to be a loss for us here. Okay, is that a flash freezes? Like that's definitely kind of like the critical turn there, where you really want to be winning the game. If we go into the next turn and he has like a It Stairs, it's a real problem. If he clears out the full board, like it is nice having that kind of like safety net of the hallowed bonus coming through, but still fairly scary. All right, a little bit of Aatrox Vein. Who do we got here? None of our early hallowed plays. Just get rid of everything. Not the most exciting of starts. Again, we need a 2-drop, something cheap. Boisterous Host, you're better than nothing, my friend. Better than nothing. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And the Quinn bird. I'm not too worried about the bird as much as the equipment, and so I'm going to let this stand. If he wants to hook into the Boisterous Host, then by all means do it. These cards aren't scary until he drops the quick attack. All right. What you got for us? A little bit of Quinn bird. Sure. I wonder if he ever, how hard he ever comes after Zap. This is kind of an interesting spot. It's like, I want to 2 turns from now have the 1-cost unit from the Island Navigator on board and hit it with the Brew Leader. And so if that's going to be our angle, like how much do we worry about losing a Gwen? And it's not horrible to lose her. The downside to Gwen is like we could play Zap. And then if Zap just runs into Valor, it's not horrible. But it doesn't really feel like he's got a... it's so weird. Like it doesn't feel like he has an equipment draw, but they play so many that it's just not believable that he doesn't have one. Here it comes. Here it comes. That equipment's about to hit. Oh. Interesting. What do I know? Fish fight. Condemn. Okay. He's finally got something. It's so weird, though. So, I mean, I don't think we were playing too hard for value. I mean, are we willing to finally come in and play Quietus? Like, I guarantee you, as soon as we play this Quietus, he's gonna snap off the equipment, which is quite strong onto the Elkin. But I think it's probably time to do it. Do we have to worry about the tumble? Like, that's the problematic card here, right? It's the tumble. He tumbles onto a bird, gives it the quick attack. I it's just like the Elkin is, moderately annoying in that it oh, it's just a Dark and Bloodletters. It's just moderately annoying in that it has the tough. Well, okay then. What a weird game. Do we want to copy the island navigator now? I don't think so. Maybe we do. Like, we're not on any kind of Fizz plan here. And, like, copying Brew Leader doesn't seem that enticing when we only have the one scout unit. We're probably going to want the island navigator. Oh, shit, he didn't even die. I assumed it was going to die. I guess we didn't need to do that. Oh, wrong one. I want to get this equipment out of here. I don't so much care about this Dark Enthrall as much as Zolani coming down next turn.
Every last monster will be purged. You've made your path.
Just get it out of here. Still get a freebie attack in here. He's never going to block with Gwen. Then we can start to activate next turn. I just don't want to be in a spot where he starts doing like tumbles and shit and we're just immediately dying to Vayne. Got us for 6. Check it, bro. Look at my scouts doing scout things. Feels good, doesn't it? Oh, and he just takes it? Nice. Nice. Might be getting lethal off of the Tellstones here. Alright, so we can let that happen. Don't have the mana to play any of the big cards. Can drop in this crumble though. If at the end of the day it gets like a single combat or whatever out of the opposing hand, it still leaves us in a pretty good spot. Good stuff. GG. You know what we just did? We marked it a W for bust. This is good. Feels good, man. Oof. Who the fuck are these champions? Is that Karma? Is that Karma there on the left? Jeez, I gotta go click on it. It's kind of corrupted Karma or something. It's scary Karma. I tell you, I don't like these skins that are all scary. I was looking to start skinning up our collection for the Timewinder Gauntlet video that I put together yesterday. And we were out here playing with Leona, and it was like, oh, there's a corrupted Leona. I don't remember ever buying that. Like, I guess it just came with the it came with the season pass or something. And then it's like I pull it up, and it's like, no, that's that's a little too scary for bust. We aren't dealing with that. And I just switched back to OG Leona for the video, and I made it through from that point. The scaries went away. I don't know why people want to look at that, man. Look at this pool party skin. Everybody's having a good time. This is probably Karma down here on the bottom right, enjoying the sun. I don't know, man. I don't want that scary stuff.
The lesson begins.
Master Yi comes in. Well, we're sending the squad. He has a good block onto the Prodigy, but I want to get this chunk damage in. And then we do have the heavy metal in hand that we're going to have to cast onto something. And so on the following turn, we can look to play Fizz, get that point of spell mana back, and then heavy metal down the Master Yi. And then we'll probably look to do what we did in the previous game, to where we play a scout unit. We don't bother with the attacking with the 1-cost unit. We keep him nice and safe in the back. And then on the following turn, we look to we look to get him with the Buru leader. Now here, we did just draw Quietus. You have a real decision to make with this. If he has Twin Disciplines, we fail either way, right? But the card I think we have to stop and worry about is going to be the, what do you call it? The thing that meditates. Whatever it is that gives you +2 attack on the front, you get the new spell that gives you bonus health. He doesn't have the mana to play the bonus health spell. And so I think that our safe play there is that guy. And oh, Boisterous Host, what up? You're right on theme. Rip. Well, we had good thoughts. We had good ideas with you, friend. You didn't survive the day, but real damage coming in again with these Halloweds, +3 on the attack. Go ahead and try and take that blocker out of the way, then we'll send the squad in. Denied, denied to protect the Vestayan Disciple. I love it. I love it. All right, get him for 9. He's pretty far away from getting karma kills. We do have to, you know, worry about a bunch of Gohards popping off, but he played so many spells that the Gohard wasn't his last spell, right? Foyer was a perfect draw, though. We can drop the Foyer, get the cheap bro, and then he does have a blocker now. Maybe he'll attack. That's tough. I don't think I like it. It's just like it's too easy for him to have like an interactive element that just shuts down the whole thing, to where now we get his unit off the board. We can drop in Island Navigator, open attack next turn. Actually, open attack with this Saga Seeker. He kills it now, but we did have potential to deal 4 damage with the Saga Seeker through the Tellstones. Cool. GG. Keep on marking them, yo. www.winforbust.com. Oh man, I had a delightful dinner last night. It was a wonderful place we have out here in Kansas City. And so if you're out in Kansas City, they make you eat barbecue. It doesn't matter if you want to or not. You have to eat the meats. There's always a lot of argument locally in terms of where you go, right? There's the national argument is what's better. Is it the stuff in Texas? Is it the stuff in South Carolina, North Carolina, wherever they do it over there? Is it the Midwestern barbecue? Nobody gives a fuck. It's all really good. You don't have to roll that deep in terms of, you know, what city has what state has the best one. It's all good. But once you get locally in town, you do have to start dealing with the next level of the game, which is the best local one. And I think it comes down to kind of like 2 things in terms of the best barbecue. That's if you want like the classic stuff, like if you just want some smoked meats along with like baked beans or French fries or something, like that's the classic stuff. And then you have the kind of like modern foodie style stuff, and everybody has their picks for each one, but I think you have to make that distinction. But once you kind of get past that, oh shit, this is still fine. We can still attack with our Hallowed. You know, people start to have the real discussions. But nonetheless, like I really enjoy the barbecue out here. The other kind of foodie thing that we'll go on about is it's tough to decide who makes the best food in the world, whether or not it's the fine people of Mexico or the fine people of Thailand. And I typically lean towards Thailand, but you know, the Mexicans, they have the real top-notch choice food. And so, you know, it's tough, it's close. And where this is all going is we got a place recently, like one of the more famous Thai places down here. The lady that's the head chef there, she's married to a dude that likes to make barbecue because that's what you do when you're from Kansas City, and so they have a Thai barbecue fusion place, and it is the tits. I went there. I went there again last night, and it was absolutely delightful. I have a large pile of leftovers that were absolutely fantastic as well. Loved every moment of it, and so good, man, so good. But all right, back to the game though. We'll let the barbecue stuff slide. Oh, he just lets the faithful go. Interesting. Not quite what I was expecting. It's only down to 1 mana now, so this Fiora should be extremely vulnerable. And then I'm okay to attack with everybody that isn't the Sharkling, right? You know what we're doing with the Sharkling. We're bringing in that same play next turn with the Buru leader. But now we just have a ton of Hallowed Bros coming in. We literally have another Quietus, right? Literally, not figuratively. Literally have another Quietus. Now we can attack. So Shin's going to get a good block. I'm curious if he sends the Caretaker in, because it kind of sucks right now, right? it just has a lot of front end and it dies to everything, and so not the scariest. This is another one, though. I did start talking about barbecue quite a bit. I'm curious if we shouldn't have Fading Memories a Island Navigator. I don't remember if we could have. I was busy talking about important things, but feels like maybe we had that opportunity. All right, well, big chunk of damage coming through. We need a little bit more action, a little bit more something to do, but got a lot of power here. Our Halloweds are bumping. There's the second Navigator to save the day. Say, I got you, fam. Don't worry about your bad plays. I'll come in and fix everything for you. Now, interestingly, do we want to actually copy the Navigator again? Will we pick up Fizz? I don't think we're going to here. Oh boy, oh boy! did you hit the answer to our Mourned? We're at Hallowed 6 right now, so it's going to come in for 8, even without the old Fizzerino doing his thing. Get boomed. He says, "Oh fuck." Okay. All right, we'll just win with Fizz then. What a hit, though, man. What a hit. All right, squad coming at you. GG. Well played. Another victory for Team Bust. Even talking about all the barbecue, we managed to secure a victory. Good job, team. Good job. All right, battle number 7. Let's get it going. We got Fiora Udyr. I like what you're about, my dude. I like it. But let's see what we can do. This is one I don't feel really confident in hanging on to Fizz. Like, there may not be a lot of 1-drops, right? They might play like Omen Hawk or something that could shut him down. He might get in for that 2 damage on the first turn is what I'm getting at, but I think he's going to just be a liability after that point. And so I'm going to go back to, just looking for our Hallowed Bros. Our Phantom Butler was already here. Try to pick up Boisterous Hosts, Redeemed Prodigies, Opulent Foyers. Get that good early game that we're looking for. Okay, so no 1-drops. Not the end of the world. Don't want to party? You don't want to bang with the Phantom Butler? I don't blame you. I think we still want to get into combat with the Redeemed Prodigy here. He does get... that's tough. It's like he gets the good block with the Prodigy and then gets to follow up next turn with the Broadwing. Like, maybe we just aren't as excited about that as I want to be. Especially now that he has a stance swap. Eh. Eh. That's crappy. I wonder if it would have almost been better just to go ahead and Fading Memories the Phantom Butler and attack. Right? I suspect he's going to regenerate stance swap the bird. Before or after combat, however you want to do it's fine. But I think that's probably definitely on the table. Right? He's going to stance swap this turn. So where does that leave us on this follow-up turn? I think we're going to be playing Gwen into Island Navigator. Play Island Navigator this turn. Okay. Kind of is what it is. At least his draw is fairly slow from that point. So we want the Navigator to come down. We're going to open with it. And we could follow up with both Gwen and Fizz if we want. Our Hallowed count's pretty low, which is crappy. If he's going to have this 0-5 Broadwing next turn, it's going to be able to block either of our units pretty effectively, and we don't have great ways to kill it. We don't have any Quietus running around to get the easy takedown on the bird. I wonder if we messed up something here, and we should, instead of playing... I didn't even stop to think about this until now. I wonder if we should have copied the Vulpine Wanderer, and then with it copied, we could have just done a stance swap of our own to put the damages down onto his stuff. That's interesting. But now that we've picked up Heavy Metal, we'll see if we can't Heavy Metal down the Broadwing. It's not super important to get Gwen down this turn. So let's see how that plays out. Looks like the Heavy Metal is going to work. No, hang on. Yeah, we can't get out of that. Alright, Fizz does not counterspell the Ram Stance. That's a little unfortunate. Little unfortunate, bro.
What a strange, wonderful world.
Man, we're just a hallowed one. Life is hard. Life is hard.
What a joy.
Well, that's that, I guess. Could have been a little cleaner. I still think we had a really good play in there with that Fading Memories, and we just looked over it.
Have you come to aid your old friend, young fox?
Yes, old man. We heard your call.
Is he just going to go big with his stance swap now? Like, I don't want everything just getting boomed by by the stance swap, but it's like we're we're fairly far behind. Let's get an attack token. Like, this leaves him with a good spot to do a 1 damage AoE here, which is the problem. Right, I'm looking to drop Buru Leader onto the thing, whatever our scout unit is. Looks like he went Overwhelm or something onto Udyr, so we should at least be safe in that sense. Sure.
Iron board. Sail if you can. Swim if you must. This is our path.
This is not nearly enough damage. we should have thought through this one a little bit better. Oh my, okay. That's actually okay. I thought that I messed this up sometimes to where I get like tunnel visioned in on our Buru Leader being able to pick up or whoever this hallowed unit is, picking up the point of attack and then applying that to Petricite Broadwing. I thought we missed out on a space here to where the Udyr was going to have 4 health. If we blocked him with the Buru Leader, then we could have taken him down with the Broadwing, but I'm glad we didn't go that route. That wouldn't have worked. Okay. I mean, we have a decent attack next turn. We can Eye of Nagakaboros. Ooh, fuck, he has a unit. God damn it. I was going to say, well, we can Eye of Nagakaboros. Looks like we're still going to be short if we try and take that path, and so I think we are just kind of stuck. Let's see what happens. The thing we're looking for in terms of not dying next turn is we have a good Fizz here, right? If Fizz picks up Shadow Isle's Tellstones, we don't have to worry about Udyr. We can Spirit Journey him out of combat or whatever it's called, but we miss. So we're going to have to just stop here. There's no real reason to attack with Gwen. Right? She's only... Oh shit, is that... As if he didn't block. This is the Gwen orb is only dealing 2 damage. So we'll slow our roll there. Looks like we might have to try to Eye of Nagakaboros into that. Well, this isn't lethal, but he does pick up a stance.
Why are you here?
So we have to block. We can't. It's nice to have these non-lethal attacks just come in and you ignore it, right? You can just take a big chunk of damage because you know they can't play any combat tricks. But in this kind of space, he's still going to get his strike. We need to continue. Yeah, this is just not gonna work. We're not gonna have the heal. Okay, GG. So that was a bit of a slop fest. We could have played that one a little better. I think we had something working there, and then we kind of got sidetracked a little bit. But in general, I think that should be a fairly fine matchup. All right, though. On to the last one, Game 8. The final battle is here. Let's see if we can't secure victory in our last one. I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. Let's hydrate before the game begins. All right. Got this dumb cat coming back over here. She's just meowing at me. I assume that she's going to tear the shit out of one of my arms in the middle of the game here. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. Reasonable start, though. Quietus isn't like ultra strong here. I could definitely see an argument for getting rid of it, but it is kind of nice to be able to handle the opposing. See, here she is. To handle the opposing early plays without having to trade in combat. And so we don't have a turn 1 play anyways. I don't want to kill a Boisterous Host. I don't care about that one. But things like Redeemed Prodigy are kind of troubling. And then if opponent is like, oh, look at this, I'm going to play Fizz on the first turn, then we have the answer for him as well. Again, it's not super strong, but I can definitely see an argument for its usage. Okay, and we're not busy being the aggro here whatsoever. I don't think there's a good reason to trade with the Butler. There's that Quietus we were looking for. I want to do it now. I don't want him getting the hallowed play out of it. Take down his 3. Now we'll have a foyer. Next turn we can try and start in with some Island Navigator based shenanigans. You have to 2 hallowed.
The ocean charts our course.
Yes, yes! Strike up the band!
Best Dragon Chow 2023. We're getting a lot of the best cards 2023, am I right? Just loading them up with the stats, saying, good job, man. Good job. You deserved it. You deserved it.
Blessed is motion.
All right. Nice little chunk coming through. Sure. It feels like we're pretty reasonably far ahead here. It would be nice if we had a... This would be like a pretty decent Buru turn, I do believe, but... You know, we're churning out a lot more Halloweds than he is. We have good blockers. He doesn't have a lot of board. Let's see if he's got an Island Navigator for us here.
My goodness.
Nope, just a Gwen.
What's all this?
The Midnight Rebel! And so we begin!
Alright, so he should only be getting the single attack here. I think we want to prevent the damage. This is one of these spots to where it's like, it would be kind of nice to, it would be kind of nice to just have a Buru leader and get to protect our Dragon Chow, but it's not going to be the case. What I'm looking at here is we're just going to take the blocks. I'm not putting damage onto the Island Navigator. The 2 damage here is not a big deal. Then we're going to play an Opulent Foyer. Then next turn, we're just going to have a ton of tokens. So hopefully those will be enough to cause the damage. Bring the victory, if you will.
Always forward.
It's tempting here. Like, what are the chances he has a way to kill our Island Navigator? Like, if we assume that he's just playing the exact same list that we are, he would need a Quietus, which he hasn't played up to this point, and he's had some mana banked. You can, what is this? Kill an ally to kill a unit. Like, we're short on a space. We're short on space as it is right now. I think we want to crumble her. Then we should attack, get 2 fresh tokens. We can still play the Phantom Butler if we want. But this is one of these spots to where if he doesn't react and he just lets it happen, that's good. It should be tough for him to just get like a bunch of units on the board. And if he does start reacting to kind of try and counterspell it, then it limits him what he can do for the remainder of the turn. And so if he played a removal spell there, it would have been much more challenging for him to play a second card on the turn. The other thing to watch for here will be is if like he only plays a single unit. We're at what, Hallowed 7? This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We can get a kill with the Shadow Isles Tellstone. I believe that'll do it. Needs a Vile Feast or something to stop one of these things mid-combat. Now, it might have been just like a little bit safer to just go ahead and play our Hallowed Butler, whatever you're called, Phantom Butler. And then we could have saved the Tellstones for next turn. I kind of like that a little bit more, because if he has something like interactive, and then we go into next turn, it is nice having the Tellstones, so that you can either kill off their Gwen or kill off whatever they play if they get something going like that, but it's tough. It's close. It's like you shouldn't expect too much removals coming out of the deck, at least from the list that I've been seeing. And so, not a bad set of games. A nice 6-2 record with the Fizz Gwen, and it's kind of an interesting space. When these decks kind of like come to the forefront, this is something that some of the kind of pro circuit has put together over the past few days. It does always have a bit of an inflated win rate, right? It has on LOR Master here, it's only got 3,000 games under its belt, and that's pretty low if you want to go and say compare it to something like Aatrox Vayne. Like if we go and look at some of like the top tier decks, I just clicked on the top NA players to pull up their deck list, but like Aatrox Vayne has 34,000 games under its belt with still a massive 57% win rate. Ezreal Seraphine has 18,000 games, and then Aatrox Kayn, the next big one, has almost 9,000 games, to where switching back to Fizz, it's only at 3,000. Looks like that's 1% of the meta compared to 12, 6, and 3. And so it's not to trash on the lower level players as much, but once people start to pick up on the decks, even if you're kind of a top tier player and you see this new deck and you want to go out and try it, that first kind of 10 or 15 games that you get in, you're not going to be particularly familiar with it. And so you do still sort of see, kind of inflated win rates out of this deck. And at the end of the day, I feel like what we're probably going to see as we make our way into seasonals, or at least, well, I'm not entirely certain how the timing works. They say there's another patch coming at the end of the month. I'm not certain when the new patch falls in regards to seasonals. But if the current meta is what we're playing in the Last Chance Gauntlet and seasonals, I do really suspect that we're going to see a massive uptick in decks like Pirates, and I think Red Gwen is going to tick up as well, and those decks should really put a damper on Fizz Gwen. This is one of these decks to where you're really kind of looking for a specific kind of meta to fall as to where you are just playing against Aatrox over and over and over and over again, and you're playing against Gwen or you're playing against Seraphine over and over and over again, and you're kind of like having a slightly bad coin flip against Seraphine, but you're crushing Aatrox. Like that's what you're looking to have happen when you play this style of deck, and I do ultimately worry that it's just not as powerful as Red Gwen, right? The Red Gwen combos are very similar to what this is doing, but I think it's safe to say that Katarina is much stronger than the likes of Island Navigator, and I think it just kind of at the end of the day, this deck, while it is good, it's not the best version of Gwen, and it's probably not the best version of a deck in the upcoming meta. But, if you're not trying to be the most competitive person on the planet, if you aren't saying, bust, I'm trying to be rank 1 NA, you're probably not watching my stream anyways, if that's what you're trying to do. But this does give you a perfectly reasonable and fine deck to grind ladder with. If we're having an inexperienced 75% win rate up in Masters, you should be able to carry on a pretty reasonable win rate anywhere along the chain. And so you want to play it? Go for it, man. You got my blessing. Go out there and have yourself some fun. And so, with that being said, that is going to do it for us today. I hope everyone enjoys the video. I hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.